So let's get started. Thanks for taking some time this afternoon to join us to learn a little bit more about the Masters of Science in Biomedical Science at AT-Still University. I'm Dr. Michael DePalma. I'm the program director. I'm also a PA. And I'm very excited to share our program with you. Also joining us on the call is Sarah Amini-Rada, and she's our program manager. So you may see some correspondence from either of us, particularly Sarah after the session is over with some follow-up emails and a link to the recording of this. So I've been a PA for almost 22 years now. It's really my third career. I started off in the Navy, and then I worked as a microbiologist for 8 years before I decided I wanted to go back and be a PA. So, we kind of designed this program with the intent that it was for students who need to improve some coursework or GPAs, for non-traditional students who are looking to change careers or have always thought about going to PA school and didn't think it was an option. And hopefully this program can help to encourage you that it certainly is an option. So a little bit about AT-Still University. It's a health sciences university, really that focuses, and we have two main campuses, but we have over 100 different locations around the country that offer different healthcare disciplines and health programs, both online and residential. I think an important aspect of AT-Still University is the mission statement. And I've underlined a few highlights that we'll talk about later on when we talk about the individual program. But in general, the whole mission of the university is to train highly competent professionals in healthcare, focused on whole person healthcare. And I stress this because we look at this as an applicant as well as who we're trying to put out and treat future people and future patients, but also this is the applicant that we look for, a well-rounded applicant, not just a straight A student, or if you've struggled a little bit in undergraduate, we look at the person as a whole. What all have you done? And certainly focused on helping to improve care in the underserved population area. So a little bit about our program. It's an all online program. It's asynchronous. That is completed in 9 months. Sounds very aggressive, but this was by design and intent, and we'll see when we look at the calendar in a few slides of just how we break down those 45 credits. 45 credits was selected because we really wanted to offer enough credits that would improve some GPA or coursework and be able to demonstrate your academic worth or your academic value. If some of you may have applied to PA school in the past, and if you've been unsuccessful at getting in, grades may have been one reason, or you might have done well, but just not had a sustained record of academic success, which is what a lot of admissions committees like to see. So this is an opportunity that you can improve your coursework in that regard. So a little bit about PA school in general. There are currently now 310 PA programs that are accredited. This is projected to increase to 353 over the next basically year and a half. I put up the entry point slides really so you can see when you can enter a PA program. They have them throughout the year. Multiple programs start at different times. But if you look in general, around 163 programs have start dates in the summertime, May to August timeframe. And then there's another approximately 76 programs that start in January. So with these entry points, it makes it very obtainable that if you're applying in different cycles, you can try and get into different options with school. As far as the applicants from the most recent data from the Physician Assistant Education Association, around 31,000 applicants, only 12,751 have matriculated. So that's an acceptance rate of about 40%. And the question that you have to ask yourself is what happens to the other 60%? Not everybody gets in their first time around. Sometimes they have to apply 2 and 3 times to actually get to that matriculated spot. With regards to the number of applicants, even though the PA programs are increasing in number, it doesn't necessarily mean the number of opportunities are increasing. They are, but not at the same pace that the number of applicants are there. So if you kind of pace this out, you can see the number of applicants on average increases by about 1,000 a year, whereas the number of accepted is only increasing by about 750 a year. So although there's more opportunities with increased programs, there's also more demand for highly qualified students to fill those slots. And that's what we kind of tried to focus on with our program, is how to make yourself a highly qualified and highly competitive student. So as I mentioned, students on average apply for about 2 years, a little over 2 years. So it's not that many of them are getting in on their first attempt. Almost 28% of them had previously applied to PA school before. If you look at the second kind of major bulleted area when we talk about performance, 94% graduation rate seems pretty good, and it is. But there's another 5, almost 6% there that aren't graduating, and why is that? Some for personal reasons, a lot for academic reasons. And this is what we really want to focus on too, is if we can prepare you academically to succeed, we'll hopefully reduce that amount of attrition due to academic purposes. Why? Well, you certainly don't want to have to drop out of PA school and incurring all those loans and not having been able to graduate because for academic reasons. So I think our program can certainly help to prepare you for that. Academic dismissal is actually down from where it had been in previous years to 3.8, which is good. I think a lot of programs are trying to hold their students and remediate them, and that's what the deceleration is down below, is 9% students decelerate, which means they either repeat a course or they have to repeat a whole year. Now, that's costly to you as a student because you have to pay for that extra year in tuition. And from a university standpoint, then they lose a student in their seat collecting tuition money. So it's very advantageous for them to keep these students and academically do well. So one of the questions, if you've applied or if you're getting ready to apply to PA school, is how can I be a more competitive applicant? These are general terms. I used to teach in a PA program and I was on the admissions committee. And these are things in my experience that I want to share with you, both that our program can help you with and other areas outside of our program that you really want to focus on for your application. Certainly areas of weakness, GPAs, weak courses, individual courses. I don't know that I know a student who's actually been not successful. They've all been successful, but with organic chemistry, that seems to be the Achilles heel of a lot of students. Don't worry about one course, but can you explain why? Can you demonstrate why that might have been your weakness? That's what a lot of programs would want to know about. Do you have that demonstrated record of academic success? Now, what does that mean? If you have had to repeat a course or had to take some postgraduate work and you've taken 1 or 2 classes at a community college, like an anatomy, that's great. However, that's one class over a summer. And what universities want to know, or what admissions committees want to know, is can you handle multiple courses at the same time? And that's what that record of academic success over a period of time and a lot all at once. And that's what our program does with a lot of coursework in a short period of time to be able to demonstrate, yes, I can do this, and gives the admissions committees a little more confidence. We have a medical writing for health professionals course, as well as our capstone series focuses on your personal statement and researching the profession, what it's like to be a PA, as well as other healthcare professionals. Those are the big areas, those top 3 bullets that our program focuses on, helping you to be a better applicant. The other areas that I just like to share with potential students or applicants to PA school, healthcare experience. Brag about that on your application. Do as much as you can as far as whether it's volunteer, whether it's paid. It doesn't matter. The more patient contact you have, the better it is. Research the programs that you're looking to apply to. Some programs allow scribes to be considered as healthcare hours. Others do not consider scribes as really healthcare experience, because you're watching things rather than interacting. When we talk about healthcare experience, think about an EMT or a hospital tech, a CNA, even an MA, where you interact and interview with patients. So that all has quality behind a quality healthcare experience. Mission-oriented activities, as I mentioned with AT Still, we like to serve the underserved population. So if you've done any mission trips, if you've done any volunteer activity, those are really good points to emphasize on your application, because that's what a lot of schools want. Again, do your research on the programs that you want to apply to. and really want to tailor these parts of your application to the program that you're applying to so you can hammer the important points. Some admissions committees score their applicants and give a numerical value to each of these criteria by actually getting the points for those that are stronger or more heavily weighted. You'll do yourself a favor on the applicant. Research and teaching. Some universities and admissions committees like to see research, especially if they're a research-based program. So I would always brag about those if you had them and had the opportunity. If I used to see research on an application, I would ask the candidate, tell me about the research that you did, because that might have been something I was interested in, and that helps to open up a nice dialogue with some of the things that you've done. Finally, ask if you have applied to a PA school and you didn't get in, or you didn't get an interview. Don't be afraid to reach out to the university, to the admissions committee, and say, what could I improve? What can I do better? A lot of them are really want to see you apply again, and they want to know that you've done something to improve yourself. I've seen many applicants that would apply 1 year, the next year they would come back and I said, what have you done in the last year? And they didn't really do anything to strengthen their application, whether it's healthcare experience or working in healthcare, something like that, just to show that you've expanded yourself over the last year. And that's what a lot of programs and admissions committees will kind of tell you. It might be grade related, it might be coursework, anything along those lines, but they're always usually very happy to share where you're falling a little bit shorter of some of the other applicants. So as I mentioned with our program, it's really geared toward, it was designed by PAs, really for PA education to get into PA school. We have selected undergraduate science coursework that has either given PA students a little bit of trouble or that has just not been covered well enough in undergraduate coursework to prepare you for PA school. The rigorous pace that we have that I'll show you on the calendar coming up will pretty much mimic what you can expect in PA school. It's not unusual in PA school to have a week that you might have 2, 3, even 4 exams, and you might be studying 2 or 3 different systems or organ systems, something along those lines, on a regular basis. I think one of the strengths of our program is the online asynchronous component of it. Our coursework is assigned usually at the beginning of the week on Monday, with certain things due in the middle towards the end of the week, so we can have discussions on those. And we really try and allow you to complete the work at your own pace. One of the most important characteristics of PA school is time management. That's something that a lot of students, it takes a little bit of time to develop those good skills. And you don't want to do that when you're in PA school, or you don't want it to take too long, I should say, when you're in PA school. A program like this can really help you focus on those time management skills. So when you get to PA school, you should have some good study habits and be ready to go. So our coursework, basically, as I mentioned with the upper level sciences, anatomy, we do require that you have anatomy as a prerequisite coming into this. It's hard to teach new anatomy in 10 weeks, which is what our blocks run. So we like this to be a focused refresher course. Physiology, we'll get into a lot of, there are 3 different physiology courses and we'll break them down by systems, but we get into a lot of detail with those. Biochemistry is a very important one because a lot of PA schools have that as a prerequisite requirement. Whether you've had it as an undergraduate, this course will help to refresh some of that knowledge. Biochemistry is also a big precursor and an important course to have before you get into pharmacology, because with pharmacokinetics, pharmacodynamics, it really depends on a lot of biochemistry and the principles that you'll learn in biochemistry. So we teach biochemistry first, and then in the next block, you'll have pharmacology 1, pharmacology 2. Microbiology and infectious diseases, you may have had, or you should have had microbiology as an undergraduate, because that is a requirement for a lot of PA schools. What we do is take that and really apply it to the human body, infectious disease as it affects humans, and really give that clinical component to it. So you really learn what you'll need to know when you get to PA school. Same thing with immunology and genetics. A lot of people have had genetics as undergraduate, but we really try and tie in genetics as far as its effect on human disease and progression. We have several social science courses too. As I mentioned, the medical writing course early We also have a course in medical ethics and social behavioral determinants of health. These are two very important courses that you will learn in PA school, but it's difficult to learn the concepts of social and behavioral determinants of health and ethics while you're trying to learn all the medicine that goes along with being a PA. So by introducing these early, it gives you a better appreciation. And a good example of this is food deserts. And we think we keep hearing more and more about food deserts on the news, which is great that it's increasing awareness, but it's sad that we have so many in our country. If you learn about food deserts and this, how it really affects the patient population that you'll one day be treating, once you start to learn the medicine, then you'll apply it to the concepts that you'll have learned in this course, rather than trying to learn it in PA school while you're learning the medicine. It'll make a little bit more sense, hopefully. And then finally, we have a 3-series capstone course, 3 courses that kind of introduce interprofessional disciplines, other types of healthcare and how PAs interact with them. Capstone 2, we really focus on PAs. You get to interview a PA. You really learn about what PA practice is like, and hopefully this is where it gets you passionate about becoming a PA. And then Capstone 3 is a short 6-week course that finishes off with your major project and has a little video and a written component with it. So this is what our program calendar looks like. Our next program is scheduled to start July of 2025. Application window is currently open, and for that cycle, it will be open through June 15th. As I mentioned with AT Still, we run 10-week blocks. So we'll have 3 10-week blocks and then 1 6-week block will round out your 9 months. The dates are on here for when the blocks will run. You get a week off in between fall block 1 and fall block 2, and you get a couple weeks off in between for the winter holiday, and then start up again January, another week off before spring block 2. Spring block 2 finishes in early May, and then graduation is set in person in Mesa, Arizona, which is our main campus. And everyone that goes through our program, we certainly welcome and look forward to seeing you at graduation on campus, where you get to get your hoods. A little small, this is on our website as well, so you can look this up for a little bit more detail, but this is how we break up our blocks at this point. And as you notice, you take a large number of courses and credits in those first 20 weeks. This is by design. This is really to demonstrate that you can handle this heavy caseload of courses, because when you start applying, either in December or early spring, you will have a good number of these credits completed, and you'll be able to demonstrate, yes, I did this coursework, I balanced it, and I was successful. As I mentioned, I'll just go back to this slide. Capstone 3 is the only course that you'll take in this final spring block 2. It is a 4-credit course that's completed in 6 weeks, so all of your coursework will be focused on finishing off your capstone project, which is why it stands alone. So currently we have fall block 1, fall block 2, both have 5 courses. Due to a couple 2-credit courses, there'll be 15 credits and 13 credits in your first full semester. So by December, you will have 28 credits. This sustained performance that I kind of keep focusing on is what schools will look for and application committees will look for. So, when you start applying, depending on when you are in the cycle applying, you'll be able to demonstrate this progressive success that you have with taking courses each semester. I think the faculty that we've put together is a big strength of our program. They're not all PAs. We have experts in anatomy and physiology, biochemistry that teach. Those are subject matter experts in those fields. We have some PAs who teach in PA programs, as well as PAs who are currently clinically practicing. So you get to learn from a whole range of different types of instructors. We have a pharmacist who teaches pharmacology. The individual that we have teaching ethics has a master's of jurisprudence in health law. So you're really learning from the cutting edge experts in their fields and in fields that they actively practice in, so they can speak more to what you can look forward to as a PA student. So who should apply? If you are still questioning at this point, if you need to improve your overall GPA, your science GPA, If it's been a while since you've had some of these courses, you just need a deeper understanding. The other thing I like to talk about is this gap year or bridge year. If you're coming right from undergraduate and you're just not sure whether you want to dive right into PA school, you might need a year in between, a year to mature, a year to just experience things before you get into PA school. We call that a gap or a bridge year. A gap year means you take a year off. A bridge year means you're taking something to improve yourself. And that's why we kind of look at this as a bridge year, because you're improving your academic record, you're improving your worth to the program. As far as prerequisites, we have very few. We wanted to make this open and as really opportunistic as we could a program. We only require one course in anatomy. That's 3 credits. If you take anatomy and physiology, you do have to have both 1 and 2 to fulfill the 3-credit anatomy requirement. English composition, if you didn't notice, there's a lot of writing in this. We do a lot of discussion posts on almost every course. And it's important to have good language and grammar skills. Communication is very important in healthcare because it leads to reduced medical errors. But it's extremely important. We don't necessarily want you to all become medical writers, but you have to learn how to interpret the medical literature out there. And if you're in PA school, it's going to be a master's-based program that may have either a research component, an evidence-based medicine component, and a lot of them have capstones that require writing. So it's very important that you have a good grasp of writing, and then we will help refine that as we get into our program. GPA, entry GPA of 2.5. This is for both science and overall GPA. The reason why there's a little star there is you roughly need a GPA of about 2.75. And then if you attain a 3.6 in our program, depending on the number of credits and science credits that you have, a 3.6 with a 2.75 GPA would be enough to roughly raise your overall GPA or your science GPA to a 3.0. I mentioned that 3.0 is the target because a lot of PA programs have that as their minimum requirement. There are some programs out there that if you do not have the 3.0, your application will not even move onto a screening point. That gets stopped and kicked out there. The reason why we have 2.5 is because I feel that there are a lot of good quality students that are out there who are capable of getting into and succeeding in PA school because they might have misstepped, because undergraduate might have been a long time ago. It just gives an opportunity. So there are a number of programs that have 2.75 as their minimum GPA. There's a number of programs that don't have a minimum. They just look at that well-rounded student. What have you done recently? And if you can demonstrate success in this 9-month program, you can say, this is what I'm capable of right now, not what I did 5 years ago in freshman year when I had a bad year. So I think that's why a GPA of 2.5 can really be beneficial to those students who have tried to get into PA school and not been successful. The very third slide, we talked about the mission and what I really want you to do, and this goes to interviewing for PA schools as well. Very important that you align your mission with the mission of the schools that you're applying to. If you know you want to go to PA school and you know you want to work in underserved populations or on an Indian reservation or anything along those lines, what's the mission of the program and will they help you achieve those goals? If your mission doesn't align with the PA school admission, you're going to set yourself up to struggle. Doesn't mean you're not going to succeed. It just means you're going to struggle because it's not necessarily with your mission. When it comes to our program, I want you to do the exact same thing. I am more than happy to accept all students who want to come to our program, but it really has to be the right fit for you. We want students who are looking to go on to PA school or to try and improve themselves the best that they can. And, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go into underserved populations. It just means that if our mission in general helps you to get into PA school, then it aligns with yours. Some of the advertisements that we have out, or if you've seen this on any of the emails that you may have received from us, talk about the guaranteed interview. This is a very important feature, and we are really happy with this because it gives you that opportunity. A lot of students who have applied and not been able to get that interview, because once you sit down and talk to a PA committee or an admissions committee face-to-face, that's when you really get to sell yourself as a good quality candidate. So just getting that interview can sometimes be the biggest hurdle for a lot of people. If you complete our program Complete means you have to graduate. You have to get the whole way through the program with a 3.5 GPA, and you meet the minimum requirements of the ASHS-PA program. That means you'll be granted an automatic interview. Now, the minimum requirements are posted on the PA school website, and it's important to review those because if they require a minimum of a C in chemistry or organic chemistry, then that's a prerequisite requirement that you need to follow with theirs. So that's kind of why there'll be a disclaimer coming up, but I'd just like to really explain what that means a little bit more so. But we'll talk about that in a second when we talk about how our first cohort did with that. One of the important questions that we get asked a lot is financial aid available? It is, but we don't like to discuss it here because financial aid is very highly individualized. It's very specific for each student. Instead, ATSU does a wonderful job with providing individual counselors that'll have one-on-one meetings with you. Their contact information is here, and I encourage you to reach out and discuss them. Your financial health is just as important as other aspects of your health, and knowing how you're going to get through this year and then PA school is very important. So take advantage of that. So disclaimers, as I mentioned, this program is for PA students, aspiring PA students, and why we stress that is because that's how our curriculum was developed. It doesn't mean our program can't be used for other purposes, but I don't know what the other program requirements would be. So if you want to use this for medical school, dental school, it's your responsibility to reach out and say, well, these courses work for what I'm trying to do. And that's up to the individual applicant to see. There are a few students that we've had that have not pursued PA education, and they figured that out when they were going through the program. This is not really what I thought it was. This is not what I want. I'm very happy with that because that means you discovered that before you went into PA school and invested all that extra money. You're graduating from our program with a master's, and we've had a few of our past graduates that have gone into research or something else that interested them a little bit more. So all the more success for our program to say we helped you figure out what you really wanted to do. And again, the interview is only for those with the 3.5 who meet the minimum requirements, prerequisite requirements of the ASHS-PA program. At this time, it's only the Arizona campus. It's only the ASHS-PA program in Arizona that will grant you this automatic interview. And granting the interview does not guarantee an admission. That's kind of a stipulation with they once we kind of sign off on how you performed in our program, then their admissions committee will make determinations from there. Okay, so our first cohort graduated in June of 2024. And I like to just show you what the entry point GPA, when these students came in, not everyone had a 3.0. And that's what's not a bad thing. That's kind of what we wanted to do. In fact, if you look at the mean, it's about a 3, a median is about a 3 for overall, but science GPA was well below that. So we had a few students that had very low GPAs that we granted waivers for. Again, they demonstrated recent coursework and they were very successful in our program in getting through our program. Our final cumulative GPA was 3.67, so you can see a majority of the students were certainly over what the minimum requirement was, both in science and overall GPA to get that guaranteed interview. So now you want to know how they made out on the interviews. And we had 35 students in our first cohort, and it was our inaugural cohort. 28 of those students had a GPA of 3.5 or higher. Of those 28 students, 27 of them qualified for that. They met the minimum requirements for the ASHS-PA program. So 27 out of the 35 met the requirements. And of those 27, 15 applied to the ASHS Arizona PA program. Okay, so keep those numbers in mind, because as we go to the next slide, 2 of them were actually accepted to the class of 2026. So while they were in our program, they had applied and they met the requirements. They were not granted the automatic interview because they didn't complete our program, but they were granted an interview based on the fact that they met the other requirements. So they actually accepted 2 students before they graduated. The other students from that cohort, 10 of that 15, well, actually 10 of the 13, because 2 of them had already been accepted, had been accepted to the class of 2027. when one of them is currently on a wait list. So when we look at the number of applicants, 15 or 12 students out of 15 that applied were accepted. That's 80%, which is huge. If you look at our overall class at this point, just to the Arizona program, we do know that some other students have gotten accepted to PA school. We didn't include them on here because we don't have the data to necessarily say they did or they didn't. But I think our 34% would actually be a little bit higher as far as overall students who got accepted to PA school. So I think that's very encouraging to know that even in our first cohort, we had a lot of students who were able to get into the PA program and hopefully be successful. We'll be following their progress as they go through. So ultimately, you know, what is our goal? As I mentioned, our mission. Our mission is to see you in the white coat. We want to help you get there. And if you apply to programs and Arizona is one of them and you don't get the interview or you don't get an acceptance from them, there are 309 other programs that are out there. And we want to try and help you get into a PA program that is willing to take you as a whole student. So I'm going to open this up to questions. Please feel free to either enter them in the chat. Sarah will monitor that. If you're brave enough, you are welcome to unmute and ask a live question. We encourage all questions. And, you know, certainly if you don't get a chance to ask something here, or you think of something after we close it, then feel free to email Sarah or myself. And our emails are right here.
So Dr. DePalma, we actually have 3 questions in the chat
Great.
already. Yes. So the first one is, do you have any recommendations on how I can stand out as an applicant for this program?
You know, that's a really good question. And I don't like to say, I don't compare. So in all honesty, I look at you as an applicant. I don't look at you compared to the next student. We are trying to make this an opportunity for everybody. So I really do not want to turn anybody away who shows that kind of passion and interest. If you've struggled, if your GPA is so low that you just don't think you'll get into PA school, give it a shot. This is kind of like, hopefully not the Hail Mary, but this is hopefully the program that's going to get you back online to at least give you a good shot at a program taking a chance on you. I'm not going to compare your application to the next application. We took 35 in our first cohort and we divided them up into 2 sections. If I get so many applicants that we need to add a 3rd section, we're going to add a 3rd section. I'm not going to turn students away who are passionate about coming here. So if you're worried about your GPA not meeting the 2.5, reach out to Sarah or myself, and we'll be happy to have a conversation with you about how we can make this work. So as far as standing out, when you get in the program, work hard. That's how you can stand out, and that's what's going to get you to the next level. But I wouldn't worry too much about getting into the program.
Okay, our next question is, in your opinion, will PA schools prefer applicants to have a master's degree over doing a post-bac program to improve their GPA?
Yeah, I'm going to say that depends on the program. That's a hotly discussed topic at the Physician Assistant Education Association meetings. Is an extra master's degree a waste of money because you're spending money to get an extra degree? I don't think any education is ever a waste of money. They can't take education away from you. Anything that you can do to prove your value and worth. So if you apply to a program and you've taken 2 or 3 post-baccalaureate courses and a program says it's just not good enough, then you might need another program. Again, we wanted to have a degree with this just because it helps to show with 45 credits that you're working hard. It's not just that you've taken 45 credits over an unknown period of time. I think if you're looking at, truly trying to get into a PA school that aligns with your mission and that's what you want, ask them individually. Is this record of post-baccalaureate work enough? Would a master's degree help? Would a master's degree in public health be better? Again, there's so many different PA programs with different missions and philosophies that a master's degree in biomedical science may not hold as much as a master's degree in public health. But there are a number of other programs that would look at that differently. So it's kind of a difficult It's a great question, but it's a difficult one to give an accurate answer. Hopefully if that didn't really answer what you were getting at, let me know and I can give a little bit more, but I think.
Okay, our next question is, what are the required documents for an application?
Yeah, I kind of didn't have them on the slide and I skipped over those. You'll be required for transcripts from all places that you've attended. This helps us calculate your GPA accurately, so we do require all transcripts. A letter of recommendation and a personal statement. The reason why the personal statement is because I just want to know a little bit about you. And I want to know if you really are interested in PA school and what led you to that and how you got to that point. If you've applied to PA school, you've already had to write one of these. You're more than welcome to upload what you wrote for PA school. I think that from our standpoint helps us to know as much about you. Same thing with the letter of recommendation. We only require one. If you're coming from undergraduate or professor's fine. If you've been working with a healthcare professional, something like that's fine. And if you've used one for a PA school application, you're more than welcome to upload one of those as well. Other than the prerequisites for English and anatomy, we really don't have many. Again, we tried to remove as many barriers as we could to make this an opportunity as best as we can for students.
Okay, the next question is there an admissions counselor that will help with applications at the end of our program?
With PA, no. I mean, the easy answer to that is we don't have somebody specifically. CASPA is the admissions entity that you will have to go through, and they kind of have their step-by-step. If you haven't been through CASPA before, they're pretty straightforward as far as what they look for. I think our focus is trying to help with the components of the application rather than the application itself, because when you select the programs that you want, some of them will actually have secondary applications. Some of them, they all have different prerequisite requirements. So it's very difficult with 310 programs to know, we can't necessarily line you up one-to-one. If you're interested in something with the ASHS PA program, I know they do a secondary application, and that's something that the AT-Still residential admissions office can help if you have specific questions about those.
Perfect, thank you. The next question is, are the tests and quizzes online, or do I need to schedule a time to take them at a testing center or campus?
Yeah, good question. At this point, all of our quizzes, since our program is asynchronous, they're pretty much we do our coursework through Canvas, learning management system, if you haven't used that before. And the quizzes are all done through that. They're all timed, so you get in, you have a fixed amount of time. As far as monitoring them, this is kind of a professional program. You won't have that opportunity when you're in PA school. So, academic integrity and honesty kind of comes to the forefront. This is why we have a course in medical ethics to learn about that. And to be perfectly honest, I teach infectious disease and microbiology as well as immunology. If I cover a concept and you've read through it and you get to the quiz and I'm just not sure about that, if you had to go look that up in the short amount of time that you have because you know where to find it, then to me, you've just learned something else in addition, or it reinforced what you thought it was. So as far as the exam integrity, we want you to be as honest when you're taking these, if you're looking up answers, but realize that if you're doing them in groups or doing other ways of getting the answers, you're not going to help yourself when you get to PA school.
Okay, the next question.
Was there something else besides quizzes on?
Tests and quizzes. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we do a lot of writing assignments, so it's not that it's all quiz based. It's quizzes and writing make up your total grade. So.
Thank you. Okay,
Yep.
The next question is there an opportunity to get to know professors from this program well enough for potential letters of recommendation to PA school?
Yeah, absolutely. Another good question. I'm more than willing. I think I did 12 in the first cohort. out of those 35 had asked for letters, and I am more than happy. Almost all the faculty teach at least one course. Some teach 2 courses, so you'll get to know them. A lot of faculty have office hours. I encourage students to take advantage of virtual office hours because just like this, they're through Zoom. I post my hours weekly because I tried to stagger and vary them so they work with your schedule as well. But every faculty member is available for a by appointment. If you say, I'm not getting this concept, I just want to say hello to see you face to face. All our faculty love that. We do have some video recordings in some of our lectures or some of our assignments, so they get to know you as well. But yes, I think based on the 10 weeks that we're with you, we get to know you well enough to feel comfortable writing a letter. And usually when I write your letter, I ask for permission to share your GPA if you've done well, because I like to talk about your whole performance in the program. So, yeah.
Okay. Is there an interview for the MSBMS program?
There is not. I'm certainly happy to meet with somebody to talk things over, but an interview is another hurdle that we didn't feel was necessary in selecting students who really have that passion or that interest in taking the next step. So,
Okay, this question goes back to the previous question. Is there an opportunity?
Let me back up one quick second. There's not an interview, but what we do actually offer is a mock interview in our capstone series that helps you prepare for your PA interview. So we don't interview to get in the program, but I did want to stress that because I think that's a very key aspect of the program that helps you to get to that. Sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, no, you're good. It is a good opportunity. Is there an opportunity for online tutoring in the event that we cannot make office hours?
Online tutoring is a little difficult in an asynchronous program. I would say if you're struggling with an area, get in touch with your instructor. If you're balancing and juggling 5 courses at one time, we don't have an in-person tutoring center, and at this point, AT still doesn't have an online tutoring center. Your best course of action is if you're struggling to reach out sooner rather than later, and try and find a time. Most of our adjunct faculty that are teaching for us are still working full time. So daytime for them may not, just as for you, they may not be as convenient, but a lot of them are willing to meet in evenings, on the weekends, whatever works with your schedule to kind of help you go through things. Worst case scenario, I would say that's what's great about emails, videos. Let me try and explain this a little bit better in a video and upload a video to you or something. If you could tell me exactly what you're struggling with, here's some extra readings, here's some extra material that would help. I think tutoring goes beyond just let's have a face-to-face and me explain this to you. I think it's providing you with the tools and the resources to help you better understand it for your learning style, which is going to help prepare you when you get to PA school where you have to learn a lot of this on your own. I think that's our kind of goal, is to help guide you in that pathway.
That person said thank you because they also work full time.
Yes,
that's why
and we understand that. In all honesty, our faculty is scattered all over the country. I'm in the East Coast right now. Several of our faculty are on the East Coast. We have one in Texas, one in Missouri. I think somebody's out on the West Coast. So I know our East Coast faculty have made face-to-face appointments at 9, 10 o'clock at night, Zoom appointments, just to accommodate the students. I think if it's like an everyday thing, might get a little old, but we're more than happy to do everything that we can to help you succeed in the program.
At this moment, that's all the questions that are in the chat.
Great questions. I appreciate an interactive group, and you've all obviously taken a good step forward and trying to learn more about how you can improve your opportunity or your chances to get into PA school. So asking questions is certainly a very good way to do that as well. Any other final questions, comments? Did I answer everybody's questions fully to your, maybe not to your liking, but at least it gave you the answer, maybe not the answer you wanted?
I will say of our attendees, we have several applications that are already started. So that makes me
Great.
very excited.
Very happy to see that. If you would like assistance with helping to move those along, anything along those lines, Joe Koppelman is the online admissions counselor who primarily works with us. Tim is also helping with some of the applications. So you might have seen those two names, but Sarah basically is the right arm of the program. So always feel free to reach out to her. She can help move things along if you're not feel like you're not hearing anything or not, sometimes getting those letters in or getting transcripts can slow the process down. And Sarah has a very good way of helping to move those forward. So
There is one final question.
sure.
Do you happen to know if the AT-SIL-PA program takes being an optician as PCE? And I apologize, I don't know what that means.
PCE. Explain PCE. You're referring to
Patient care
credits?
experience.
Yeah,
Patient care experience.
absolutely. If you've done face-to-face, optometrist or optometry tech?
It says optician.
Optician. Okay. Any kind of face-to-face. I don't know specifically. That's probably a question, and I apologize. Dr. Hartman is the admissions director for the ASHS PA program, and he got pulled away right at the beginning of this meeting. So um, he's usually here to answer those, but I would reach out and ask how they would view them. I don't think any kind of quality face-to-face would be looked poorly upon. It's just how they calculate their hours. But if you're doing any kind of patient interaction, I think that would certainly count as quality.
That's all the questions, sir.
Okay. Well, thanks everybody for your time. Look forward to seeing some more of those applications move forward. And please feel free to reach out anytime if you have any questions. And if you haven't already heard, I'll put a plug in for the American Academy of Physician Associates annual conference is in Denver this year. If anybody's in that vicinity and you haven't already heard, they offer a pre-PA workshop. That's the day before. We will actually be there as well, but it's a chance for you to meet some of the other PA programs, learn about applicants, learn about admissions from other schools. It's a great networking opportunity and something, if you haven't already heard about, I would encourage you to at least look into to see.